Hi all, welcome to the channel, welcome to the workshop. Today we've got the next 6 issues of the Nissan Skyline from Too Fast, Too Furious. And today it looks to be, we're all about the interior. It looks like we've got to grab some electrics from our board and be putting some into the side panels and also the floor pan of the car. So I'll get the body down off the shelf and the floor pan. That seems to be all we're working on today. So let's get into it. Let's get building.
Welcome to the workshop. Tools are ready to play. We're gonna build something great, starting here today. Piece by piece we go now.
Right, so kicking off this build pack for issue 64. We're really getting through this build now. This must be just over the halfway point. And again, flick through the magazine. And at this stage we have the windshield. It looks like we're just popping that in, a couple of screws there, a couple of screws on the interior. So not going to take too long to do that one. As you can see, I've got my part upgrades map in place ready. And we have the body, and here is our part. Now we're just going to slot that in like that, and then pop it down like so. Make sure it goes over those two lugs. Now we've got 2 CM screws to go in there. So we are going into metal. So I'll just dip this into some oil. Now just making sure that that is over the 2 lugs there. You can get these 2 in. Just obviously this is on a plastic window, so do not over tighten them, otherwise you'll crack the mounting point there. We're now going to flip this over. Now, this is where soft mat really comes into play, because obviously you don't want to scratch the plastic windscreen there. We've got some AM screws, got 2 AM screws, and they're just going into the points you see there. Again, you don't want to over tighten these because you'll crack the mounting points. Again, just making sure that those lugs sit over the top of those points on here. So that is now our windscreen mounted, and that is all there is to do in that stage. So we'll move swiftly on to issue 63. And we have the rear window. We have a couple of screws, and we've got some adhesive strips. So it looks like we need to tidy up some of this cabling using the tape that we had supplied last time. And then it looks like we're just sticking the window in. So we're just putting some adhesive strips around the edge there, and then we're just going to drop the window in and stick it in place. Now, it looks like we've got a couple of screws that will go in just there. So I'm going to start off with just flipping the body over. You can see that some of this tape's actually already come undone. So I will tidy all of that up again. So what we need to do, we just need to gather cables for both of these and ensuring not to bend them too much. We basically need all the cables coming out of this side here. And then we're just going to be adding a little bit more tape. Right, so we have all of those wires now coming out this side of the vehicle. And as you can see, I've added some additional tape just over the top here and here. So hopefully they'll all stay in place. We're going to flip the car back over. And we're interested in obviously the rear window here. So what we're going to be doing is getting some of our adhesive tape. We're going to be placing 2 bits along the top here. We're going to be placing a single piece either side. Now, using a scalpel here. Obviously, when you do this, be careful not to scratch the bodywork. But you'll find that having a scalpel or some implement that you can stick this to like this will allow you to put the adhesive in nicely like that. I'm just going to do the sides. And one just going up the side of this one here. Just ensuring that's pressed down against the bodywork. And then all we need to do is peel off the adhesive and we'll put the rear screen on. And before I put the windshield or the rear screen on, what I'm just doing is getting my scalpel. And because these strips are a little bit wider than where we're putting the screen, I'm just using the edge of the body and just going along and cutting off the excess. Right, so with all that tidied up, so hopefully we don't have any excess sticking over. We've got our rear screen. We've got 2 little tabs on there. They're going to go through the holes you see at the back there. So we just get those 2 tabs lined up. And then it's basically just a case of press it down onto that adhesive that we've just put in. And then that's our rear screen in like so. And the last thing we need to do is just flip it over and using the 2 screws that we were given. Now, these actually don't have a letter or a number as they have done previously. They are just rear window fasteners. In fact, they're not actually screws. Now I look at them, they are little bits of plastic like that. So little plastic pins. So flip this over. And it looks like all we need to do with these is pop them in to the holes that you see there. I'm just going to use a pair of tweezers just to line that up in the hole, and then use the back end of the tweezers just to try and push that in place. Now, it's quite stiff to push in there, but it does go. So again, just going to push this one loosely in there, and then using the back end of my tweezers. I'm also pushing up on the windscreen, so it's being pushed into the bodywork a bit more, just to make it a little bit easier. And you can see that's pushed through like that now. So that's now secured that rear screen in like that. And that is all there is to do in that stage. Right, moving on to issue 65. And yes, I have just realised that I did those in reverse order. So 63 should have been the first one, which is a rear screen. And then I should have done the front screen in 64. So, wrong order, but it hasn't made any difference. So, 65 in the correct order. Let's see what we're doing in this one. So in this one, we've got the left inner panel. It looks like we need to retrieve a couple more cables, and these are the neon cables. A little bit more taping up, making sure they're all in the right place. It looks like even more neon. It's going to have more illumination than Blackpool in this case. So we're going to be putting that side panel in as well. And a little bit more tape there, securing the wires. Looks like we're going across the roof there. Right, so I've just had to grab some cables. So we have 1, 3, and 5 here. So number 1 is looking like that with single LED or cob light. It looks like they all pretty much look the same. But the first one we want is number 1. And this is going to go where the window is here. And quite simply, it's just going to go into these 2 little recesses. So just bending down the ends, like so. So that it's fairly even. So it basically sits like that. And then we're just going to get these cables bent round underneath there. And this black cable, again, it's going to bend back underneath itself, but this way it will then go like that and just create a loop and go off the same way with the red one. I'm going to use some adhesive tape again to secure all that in place. So with that pulled down as far as I can, just going to put some tape to hold it in place. So that's looking just like that. Next, we're going to grab cable number 3, which is this one. And this one is the upper light here. So I'm just going to pop that through there. Again, try and make sure you twist your labels so that we can pop that through. Run that all the way through. Same with the black one. We've got that running through like that. And again, just going to make sure that's sitting even. Like so. And just going to fold the wires over the back like we've done before. Again, just going to secure that with some tape. Now, that has made me realise I've missed out a step. I haven't put these grab handles in. So we've got one that's a little bit flatter and one, as you can see, is a little bit more curved. It's the flatter one we want first, and that's going to go in the front here. And it is just a push fit. Like that. And then this one's going to go in the rear. Again, just a push fit. So they're in there like that. I've just finished tidying up these cables. It looks like they're going to go up to this roof section here. So both of those are going to be together like that. We've got one more of these lights to go in. I'm not going to secure that in place yet. Looking ahead, we actually need all our wires pretty much to go up there. So we'll put this one in first, and then we'll sort out the tidying of the wire up there. So as you did before, this lower one is just going to go through the 2 holes here. Again, making sure that label goes through as well, like so. And we've got the black one that's going to go through here, like that. And like I've done with the others, Just making sure that that will sit there, and then we bend the wires around the back like so, and that'll hold that in place. Again, just going to secure that on the back there with some tape. Stick a bit of tape across there, and then we're really going to gather all of these cables, and we're just going to train them to go up and out the roof area. So I'm just going to put some tape in various places along here. So that's what that's looking like, and all the cables, as you can see, are coming up out here. We're now going to be placing this into the vehicle. Again, bringing the body over. Let's see, this is going to go on this side. Just ensuring that those cables are coming out neatly there. We've got a couple of lugs for this to sit over the top of. So that's going to sit like so. And just over that one there. We're going to secure that with 2 CM screws there. You may have noticed that I'm now using Wera screwdrivers. I've obviously seen several other people using these, and since Mike Lane is now a supplier of these, I figured why not get myself some. And so far, this is the first real proper build I've used it on, and I like them. I've used them on various other projects and things since having them, but this is probably the first proper build that I've used them on. This one needs to go in to this tab down here. And then one of these AAM screws is going to go in to this point just here. Like so. And I'm going to finish this off with some tape just to tidy up these wires. Right, so we have those cables running along there like that, and that is all there's to do in that stage. So moving on to 66. And we have the right inner panel, and again we need to grab some cables. This time it's going to be 2, 4 and 6, and basically similar to what we've done just now. We're going to be putting in those LEDs. Don't have any grab handles on this one, and again just trailing off those cables, and looks like they're going to come out the bottom end this time. And again just taping them up in place, and looks like we've got a couple of clocks to put in as well on there, and even lighting those up as well. And again, trailing that cable off there, and all coming out this way. Oh, looks like there is a hand grip as well, but it looks like we're not installing it this time around. So here are our parts. Again, I've got cables 2, 4 and 6. And we're going to start off with number 2. And like we did before, we're just going to put that into those little recesses there. So that's in there like so. Next we're going to take wire 4, and that's going to go in here. Again, just making sure That's stretched out nicely. Now, when I say stretched, I don't mean, pull it really tight. Just mean that hopefully it doesn't have any kinks or anything in it. And again, just going to loop this one around and put some tape across the back there. And then we're going to finish off with installing this one. And again, exactly the same procedure. Pop the cables through with the corresponding numbers. Like that. Again, stretching it, bending the pins, and securing with some more tape. And then pretty much all of these wires are going to be coming down and out this way, like that. So what I'm going to do, just put some tape along there as well. Now I'm going to take our little clocks that we've got here, or gauges, and they're going to sit in here. Although I think they're identical, it does look like they have a right and a wrong way around for which gauge goes where. And it's going to go like that. So we've got this one with it pretty much pointing straight up, and this one pointing off this way. Now we're not actually screwing those in, and they don't seem to sit in really nicely. Let's just see if I can push that in a little bit further. Yes. So it is actually quite a tight fit, which is good. So you do need to use a little bit of force, but obviously at the same time, be careful that you don't snap this A-pillar. Right, so managed to get those pushed into there, like so. Now, it's a really, really stiff fit, and yeah, I'll be surprised if someone doesn't end up breaking this. Obviously, they've got two holes in there, and it's only a thin bit of plastic, but they are in there. The last thing we're going to do for this stage, we've got cable 10 here, and we've got two LEDs on the end of that. And what we're going to be doing is just popping those in here. Now I'm doing it so I can bend the cables down this way. So both of those are in there. I'm going to just bend that one, trying not to push that pod back out. Bend that one down like that. So we've got those like so. And then that cable is just going to run up here, along the top here, and then down here, and basically join all those cables. I'm just going to put some tape on there to hold that in place. And with that one running down there, just going to put a final piece of tape just there. And that is all there's to do in that stage. So we're not actually fitting it into the car on this stage. And we've got this piece still spare. Right, so we're at the penultimate issue for this build pack. And as you can see, I've grabbed some wires because we'll need those. So we've got the rear view mirrors and floor lights. And as you can see, just creating rear view mirror, and then we're putting in these lights. So it's cables 14 and 15. It says about removing the seat just to make it easier to get to the holes. I'm going to see if I can do it without doing that. It looks like I can. And then that is it, and we're leaving these bits to the side. So here are our parts. We're not doing anything with those two parts today, but we are doing a little bit of something with the mirror. So what we're going to be doing is just taking the mirror piece, putting that in there, sandwiching it in the middle like that. So we have something that looks like that. And then just using 2 MP screws to hold that in place. Now these are very tiny screws. One in there. And one just going in there. Make sure they're tight. And that's what that's looking like. And obviously gives you a little bit of wiggle room so it can be positioned. I'm going to finish that off with this piece of mirror card. And that's just got adhesive on the back. So we'll just peel that off. And line it up. And push that into place. Now it does have a protective cover on the front. I'm just going to leave that on there for now until it's in the car. So put those parts to one side. I'm going to bring over our floor pan looking just like this. And as I said, got cables 14 and 15. And we're going to start off with wire 14, which is this one here. And we're interested in 2 holes here next to the nitrous oxide tanks. I'm just going to pop it through there. Like so. And again, the black side is going to go through here. And as we've done before, I'm just going to pull that all the way through. And just bend over the bottom there, like so. So we've got the top side looking like that. And you know what I'm going to say, I'm going to use some tape to put it in place. So again, just making sure they're pulled fairly tight. And they've got them positioned so they're coming out this way where the switch is. We haven't been asked to tape that in that position at the moment, so I'm just going to leave it like that. Now, with this cable, we need to put it in these 2 holes that you can see there. Now, the instructions do say about removing the 4 screws holding the seat down. But for the minute, I think the only one that's going to be slightly difficult to get to is possibly this front lead. So let's see what we can do first. Okay, the seat does need to be removed. You can't get the DuPont connector into the hole, and there's just not enough scope for it. So we'll just pop out these 4 screws. Now I've just got the seat loose. While I've got it this way up, I'm just going to pop the cable out. So black one like that, and then the red one is going to go out of this rear section here. And exactly the same procedure. We're just going to bend the ends of these over like that. Now the seat is roughly held in at a minute or so by the seat belts. So while I've got it like this, I am just going to pop the seat back into position and screw it in, and then I'll look at taping the wires in place. And I'm just going to pop some tape on there like that. And then these cables are heading out this direction. Now, presume at some point, I'm going to assume that they will go, in fact, this direction and go out towards the back. Now, obviously, these cables are actually quite short, so I'm assuming we might get some sort of extension cables for these. But that's what it is at the moment. And that's all there is to do in that stage. So, ending with 68, last stage in this build pack. Now, one final flick through the magazine. And you can see we've got the roof lining and a couple of RP screws. And we're fitting our mirror. We're grabbing more of our lights, putting those in the top there, and taping it in place, and that's it. Right, so we're going to take our mirror and put it in there. Now, I've had a little bit of a disaster with my mirror, and I actually managed to break it. So I've just had to glue that in onto that part there. But basically, all we're going to do is put that in there, and we're going to use an RP screw from this side. So we've got the mirror in there like so. So next up, we've got our number 9 cable. And we're just going to be placing them, these two LEDs, in here. So just pushing them between these two pegs. Like so. And then this one's going to go in just behind it. That's looking like that. We've got the LEDs like that. And then we've got this cable coming out the back here. Now all we're going to do is put some tape across here and hold that in place. So we've got all those taped in place, and we've got the wire coming off that side there. And that is all there is to do in that stage, and all there is to do in that build pack. Now, before I put all these away, what I am going to do, because we've been moving around all these cables, etc., I'm going to bring over the Test Circuit Pro from Mike Lane. And just going to utilize this cable. I'll plug that in there. And what we can do, we can just double check that all our wires are working still. So those two are working absolutely fine, as you can see. So we'll pull those ones out. And then we can check these ones. Now, I may have to reverse the polarity every so often. Just depends on which way I plug these around. So this one's working. Now, obviously, we have tested all these within the circuit board itself, but it wouldn't be too difficult to damage these cables as we're pulling them around, and obviously as we're putting it in and out of the car as well. So this is number 6. And that one's working fine. So that's 4 and 6 I've done. We've got cable 2 there, which must be this one. Now, I'm not going to show you the entire, me testing every single wire, but just give you an example of just testing this one panel. And we have number 10. And that's the little clocks there lighting up. If you can just about see that. So that panel is all working fine. Now, I will check the rest of the car, make sure that everything's still working there as well. But if you want to get one of these for yourself, check out the links below, they'll be there. And also check out the video I did on this one as well, if you haven't seen that already. Thank you very much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please remember to hit the like button below and give us a massive thumbs up. So, not a great deal to show for the build pack. At the minute, it looks like we've just put a couple of windows in. Now, obviously, we've still got some parts that we haven't had to put in yet. So we've got the headlining and the right-hand side door card. We've put the left one in, and obviously we've put in a lot more lighting as well. Now, obviously, I will check the rest of the car, but obviously we know that all the lights in here are working. Obviously, we are bending those pins around the back of the panels, etc. So it would be easy enough to break one. So just be cautious on that. And obviously, to test those, if you don't already have one, get one of the Test Circuit Pros from Mike Lane. As I say, the link will be below, so check that out. Fantastic little bit of kit, and it'll give you a bit of peace of mind for your electrics as you're doing it. Obviously, at the minute, we were instructed to test everything through the circuit board and have everything plugged into that circuit board. Now, at the minute, obviously, we're being now told to pull everything out of the circuit board and attach it to the car. And it'd be really easy to damage a cable or two just doing that, especially with the spaghetti that was left on that circuit board and attached to it. So all I've done now is I've basically removed all the cables from that circuit board so that they are in the box, all neat and tidy. I can find the cables nice and easily, and as I need them, put them in here. And obviously, for testing purposes, I can use the Test Circuit Pro, just double check that I haven't broken anything, and say, especially with these cob lights that do bend round the back of themselves, just make sure that we don't break any of those. But certainly looking good. Now, these two parts that we did have left over, they're obviously the dome lights that will go into there. It looks like that might hide one of the fixings or two for that. So make sure you keep those bits safely tucked away. But that is all there is to do today. Now, I don't believe this is available. If it ever comes available again, check out the links in the description. Just follow those and you'll find out whether it's currently available in your territory or not. Obviously, if you want to see any more of this one, or anything else that goes on in the workshop, please do remember to hit the subscribe button and ding the bell for notifications. That way you'll know when I release new videos. Obviously, just done the Skyline. I do have the next pack of the 66 Batmobile. So do check that out soon as well. Until next time, I'll see you around. Cheers.